trick or treat. Those have been the words of tens of millions of children this last week for Halloweens, trunk or treats, and fall festivals at churches and houses and neighborhoods all across America. And as we've been enjoying seeing children dressed up as Marvel characters and Disney princesses and even witches, ghosts, and goblins, it's been cute, maybe even precious, as we've heard them play the role of someone else. That's what every kid loves, is being able to be anyone and anything in this time of year. Well, the truth is, for many of us, we like to be able to play someone else. But that Halloween celebration actually came out of another holiday called All Hallows Eve, which was celebrating basically leading up to All Saints Sunday, where we remember the actual life of people and their impact in our lives. It's hard to even begin to imagine the impact of those who've gone on before us and their impact in our lives and what they did. But here's the truth. Jesus had some pretty hard words, not for children who played little princesses and Marvel heroes, but Jesus had some pretty hard words in the scriptures for those who actually played the role of someone that they were not. And he actually said those words to the religious leaders of the time, Pharisees, scribes, Sadducees, and he called them hypocrites, literally meaning to play someone else, to put on airs of being someone else. I've got a cousin who many years ago went to forestry school. And it made sense because his family owns lots of land and that part of our family. And so it made a lot of sense to go in to harvest beautiful timbers in the woods around their house and their land and all of that of their neighbors as well. But the truth is, they walk past trees that you and I would think, why in the world would you not harvest giant trees that have the opportunity to gain probably 2 or 3 or 5 times the amount of timber that smaller pines and oaks might have? And they passed right by some of the biggest trees. For you and I, we would see that and we'd think, well, let's harvest that one, and that would make up for 3 or 5 or 10 of the others. What he knows, and many other foresters know, is that what happens is those biggest trees are often these big, thick, beautiful, high and mighty trees that tower over every other tree in the forest, but inside they're hollow. And they're the kind of things that those children's stories are written about, where there are raccoons and squirrels and others living in the hollow of the tree. Well, what I really believe is that these beautiful trees we have here, even on the Clearbranch property, are an opportunity for us to see where this word hypocrite actually comes alive, to play or put on airs of being something else. Jesus' harshest words to the Pharisees were about being and putting on something that they were not, looking like they were high and mighty, looking like they were filled with the maturity of being a follower of Christ. But in reality, we're dead inside. They were the kind of thing that you and I would seek to run from. And I would encourage us, as we begin this series in Hypocrites, that we would consider what it means to really be who God made us to be, to not be hollowed out. The truth is, we can't be who God wants us to be if we don't allow God to tend to what's deepest inside of us, to make sure that beautiful shell on the outside matches up with what's going on the inside, that we don't just clean what's outside the cup, that we don't just clean what's outside the body, but we make sure that we're tending to what's inside, that we're real about who we are and what we are. Because here's what I know: when the Hurricane Michaels come, and when the winds blow, and when the storms of life come, if we have not tended what's deepest inside of us, the hollow, the death, the decay, the jealousy, the envy, the greed, the immorality, those other pieces that are deep inside of us that need to be tended to, what I know and you know is that when those winds come, the hollow trees, they break. They snap when the winds and the torrents come. And that's the point where, if we're not careful, what we'll find is they've fallen off. These big, beautiful trees, they've fallen off, and they reveal the hollowness inside that leads to death and embarrassment as it falls to the ground.